Hi everyone, Mikey79 here and welcome to this new deck tech video of Magic Duels. And as you guys can see, I have another control deck for you, and this time it is a deck that I call Bolas Worship, and it's basically another Grixis control deck. It's the third one that I have. I already have a mill deck in these colors, and I also have the energy counter control deck in these colors. So for those who don't know what Grixis is, it's blue, black and red. I found out that there are still some people who have trouble with the names like Grixis, Naya, whatever. So Grixis is blue, black and red. Why do I call this Bolas Worship? Well, if you don't know Nicol Bolas, he is a Planeswalker from older expansions. I think he started off in Shards of Alara, I guess. I don't remember anymore. Or Conflux, probably a Conflux expansion. And he's a Planeswalker in Grixis colors. And the reason why I call this deck that way is because of this card. Dark Intimations. Yeah, this card is just really great, and it is typical in Grixis color, as you can see. And you pay 5, and that seems a lot, but it's quite okay to cast in this deck. I have no trouble casting it. It is sorcery speed, and he does a great thing. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, then discards a card. You return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand and then draw a card. So if you can keep the board clear and your opponent has a planeswalker, this is actually straight up planeswalker removal. He has to sacrifice it, just like we had Flashback Marauder only in the beginning to deal with very big creatures. This is a bit of the same. Now, the second ability, when you cast a Bolas Planeswalker spell, which we don't have currently, exile Dark Intimations from your graveyard, and that Planeswalker enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it. Now, so this means a few things. We can't use that yet, and it also means that Nicol Bolas will return as a Planeswalker in a future expansion, probably the next one or maybe the one after that, but that he will be coming back is pretty sure. And it's pretty flavorful for them to use this already in a card, and I'm all excited about it. Actually, I really like it. Like I said, for those who don't know Nicol Bolas, I think he's the most vicious planeswalker out there. He's a real badass, and he's really powerful. So that's a bit of the backstory that I got for you guys. So with that in mind, all that in mind, I tried to build a vicious Grixis control deck that matches Nicol Bolas' character. So the moment that we get that planeswalker, he will go into this deck and probably some other cards as well, depending on that expansion at that moment. But for now, this is what I've built. So we start off with the Renegade Map, 3 copies. Just a great mana fixer. For 1 generic mana we get an artifact, which does come in handy from time in time that it's an artifact in this deck. He enters the battlefield tapped, but we can sack him the turn after without paying anything of mana. And we get to search a library for our basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So, great card. Then Battle at the Bridge, I play 2 copies of it. It's the only removal spell that I play that only can target a creature. All the rest can also burn players or planeswalkers in that case. We pay X and 1 black mana. We can improvise, but we won't be using that a lot in this deck. And your target creature gets -X until end of turn, and you gain X life. Against aggro decks, of course, gaining life is pretty good. And even later in the game, when you already took some beating, then it's welcome as well. Then Thing in the Ice, also still a great card against early aggro decks. It's a defender 0/4, can hold back a lot in the beginning. We only pay 2 mana for it, a blue and a generic, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, which are a lot, we get to remove an ice counter from it. He starts off with 4, by the way, and then when there are no more ice counters, he transforms into the Awoken Horror. And then, yeah, basically most of the time each game when this guy hits the board, everything, all other creatures go back to their owner's hands, and you can start to beat down with this fellow here. Then I play a new card of Aether Revolt here, Baral. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this one, but for now I only play one copy of him because he is legendary. For 2 mana, a blue and a generic, we get a 1/3, which is also a great defender early in the game. And basically why I play him is for his first ability, which says that instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast. That's the reason why I play him, to cast the big sorcery or instant spells earlier, or to play the other ones cheaper. And the second ability is not so relevant for me. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Now, like I said, won't be using that a lot because I only play 2 counter spells in this deck, so it won't trigger often. Or probably not even, it won't trigger even at all. Then I play all 4 copies of this Implement of Malice. 2 generic mana, an artifact with a great ability. You pay 1 black, you can only do that at sorcery speed, by the way. You sacrifice this and then target player discards a card. When this one hits the graveyard, so when you sack it, it goes to the graveyard, then you get to draw a card. So that's the difference of 2 cards. Your opponent has to discard and you draw, that's a difference of 2. So that's great card advantage. Great card, love it. Awesome card. Then Fevered Visions. Excuse me. For 3 mana, we get an awesome enchantment, but you do want to be a bit careful when you play this. If you're starting the game and you have a mono red deck that's beating the crap out of you, you don't want to give him gas and you don't want to play this. So you might want to wait until you stabilize the game a bit and then play this card. So, but other than that, it's a great card. It gives you cards and it can burn your opponent or a planeswalker of your opponent. I'm sorry, I'm gonna drink real fast here. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, so the Fevered Visions, great card. It might seem contradictory with the Implement of Malice, because with the Malice you let him discard cards, and with the Fevered Visions you let him draw cards. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem that I see as well, of course, because it only burns when he has 4 cards or more in his hand. So if you have this on the battlefield, you want to be careful with letting him draw his cards, discard his cards, because that way he can escape the burn easier. So you gotta bear that in mind, but yeah, it hasn't been a real problem for me until now. I haven't had that problem already, but it is something that you gotta be careful with in certain situations, perhaps. Then the Geistblast. For 3 mana, 2 generic and a red, we get an instant speed burn spell, and it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. And if it says player, it also means planeswalker, which is great because there are a lot of freaking planeswalkers around. 2 damage isn't that much for 3 mana, especially now when we have shock. So this might seem a weird decision to play this, but I play this actually for its second ability, and that's when we play 3 mana, we exile this from our graveyard, and we copy a target instant or sorcery spell that we control. And you may choose new targets for the copy. I think it's needless to say that when you play this card here and you can copy it, that's pretty awesome, for example. But you can also copy this if it's needed, or something else, whatever, you can copy it all. Then Hungry Flames, also a burn spell. We at instant speed, it deals 3 damage to a creature and then it deals 2 damage to a player or to a planeswalker. So instant speed, great against those vehicle and also necessary because you still see a lot of copters. Then Unlicensed Disintegration. For 3 mana, a black, a red and a generic, we get an instant speed removal spell, destroy target creature No bullshit, just destroy a creature, and then if you control an artifact, he also deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. So if you play black and red, this is almost an auto include removal spell. Great card. Then Liliana, the last hope. I don't think I have to explain her again. 3 mana, 2 black and a generic. Great planeswalker, wins games on her own. If you don't have her, go grind for her now. But I guess most players have her already by now. But she is great, and she's still great, and I think she will still stay great for a long time. Then those 2 counter spells that I talked about is this one, Insidious Will. 2 copies I play. For 4 mana, 2 generic and 2 blue, we get an instant speed spell, of course instant speed. But it's a versatile spell. We get to choose something. We can counter a target spell. We can choose new targets for a target spell, or we can also copy a target instant or sorcery spell and we choose new targets for it. So yeah, I like the versatility in this card. It isn't just a counter spell, you can do other things with it as well. And that's what I like about it. Now, people that follow my channel for a while now know that I really dislike counter spells. I hate them. I don't like to play against them, and I feel bad when I play with it. Now this is a vicious deck, like I said, so it has a home there, but basically I don't like playing counter target spells. That's because I always think that my opponent should be able to play the game as well. Now that being said, I only play 2 copies, so I only going to counter trouble some I'm only going to counter some real problems, or I am going to counter when I think it will win me the game, but I can't abuse it, and I won't counter every single thing that you play. Okay, I'm finding excuses right now, but anyway, it is a great card, and yeah. That being said, on to the next. Yahenni's Expertise. For 4 mana, we get a lesser language, actually, only -3/-3. But it's the second ability that makes it better, and that's that we can cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from our hand without paying its mana cost. Now, ideal situation is of course that we can cast this one, clear the board that way, and then we play Liliana with the second ability of that card. Even if it's not Liliana, a Fevered Visions is nice, even an Implement is nice, whatever. And if we can't get rid of a creature because it only does -3/-3, then I hope I can play a Hungry Flames to finish the job, or Disintegration here. So yeah, pretty nice card. We have a lot of 3-drops or lesser, so it shouldn't be a problem to cast something on top of it. Then I play 1 copy of the Diabolic Tutor. Also flavorful in this deck, really like it. Look at that design, look at that image, pretty awesome. For 4 mana, we get to search our library for a card and put it into our hand, and shuffle your library. So in a control deck, that's always nice to go find that solution that you need, your win condition that you want, or whatever that you want. Even a land, could be a land, doesn't matter. Go find it, go get it. Then Tezzeret the Schemer, the new planeswalker of Aether Revolt. And in this deck, he actually does damn well. He's won me a lot of games already. For 4 mana, we get a 5 loyalty counter planeswalker, which isn't bad at all. And his +1 ability is really great in this deck because it gives you mana, and you get an artifact that you can sack for any color of mana, which is great because in a control deck you never have enough mana. Then the -2, that is, yeah, you control the board basically. You can remove a creature from the battlefield because we will not buff a creature quickly with this deck because we don't play a lot of them. And then the -7 basically wins me games as well, and that's why I also like to play some artifacts, because you get an emblem, and at the beginning of combat, not end step or whatever, you get an artifact. You can choose an artifact, and that becomes a 5/5. So yeah, that makes you, it lets you make 5/5s at a constant flow. So it's also an emblem that you don't want to make when he's on 7 loyalty counters. Most of the time you just want to put him up to 8 and then make the emblem, and then that way you can still make artifacts so that the flow keeps constant of 5/5s. So pretty awesome card. Now if we do decide to let him die for the emblem, then we can always get him back with Dark Intimations, of course. I don't know if I pronounce it right actually, Intimations, but doesn't matter, great card. Already talked about this one, so I will move on. To Ob Nixilis Reignited. For 5 mana we still get that great Planeswalker. First ability, card advantage. Second ability, board control. And the third ability, a game winning emblem. Awesome Planeswalker. And then I play the 3 Gearhulks that you all know by now. The blue one to get back an instant speed spell that can be a burn spell, can be the disintegration, can be a counter spell, can be anything. And we get a nice beater on top of it. The black one, we blow up a creature, gain some life. Also a nice beater because he also has menace. And then the best one in my opinion of the 3 is the Combustible Gearhulk, the red one. 6 mana, a 6/6 first strike, and basically you're going to get 3 cards or your opponent is going to suffer some burn damage. That's the basic of it. Now then the last creature that I play, this Vexing Scuttler, I do play a lot of instants and sorceries, and when he hits the battlefield we get to take one back from our graveyard. He also has the Emerge ability. That means that you can cast this spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost reduced by that creature's converted mana cost. So you can, if you are willing to sacrifice one of these guys, then you can cast them very cheap, get this one back with it, and that one gets one Gearhulk back, for example. Yeah, so there's a pretty, you can do some pretty nice shenanigans with that. Nice card. You only get a 4/5 for the 8, but you don't, like I said, you don't have to pay the 8 if you don't want to. And even so, if you do, it shouldn't be a problem in this deck to cast it. Then for the mana base, I play 2 islands, 5 swamps, 5 mountains, 2 fumaroles, 2 marshes, 2 hollows, the 2 catacombs, the 2 sulfur falls, and then of course the 2 summits as well. And that's the deck, guys, and I must say it has been performing quite well. I can't tell you how the win percentage is because I don't keep record of that shit, but for my feeling it goes pretty well. Let's check out that mana curve real fast. So we play almost each color equally, a little lesser on the blue. And the curve is pretty good for a control deck. It goes slower, but that's typical on a control deck. So 5, 7, 11, and then down to 6, 3, and then we go 1 up again to 4. But like I said, control decks aren't fast, but it does a great job. So that's it, guys. I hope that you will like this deck, that you will like the gameplay with it, and this card. Like I said, it was the inspiration to make this deck, and I can't wait until we get that Bolas card eventually. So I hope you like it. I hope I will see you at the gameplay video, and have a nice day, guys. Bye bye, see you later.